Hey everybody, it's Marie, the Everyday Mother, bringing you today's Daily Mother Mythbuster. Okay, so I had a really interesting week last week, and as part of that week, I got a chance to talk to a lot of different people. And it's really fun as you get to really dive into their lives to see what kind of things they've created in their lives. So I met this one person who is just really, really, really sick and is unable to work and is going through huge financial struggles and um, just has a really hard quality of life because of how sick they are. And so as I sat in that space talking to her about what her life looks like right now and what she's going through and it was interesting because she said, my dad had cancer and my mom's really sick and we're all financially in trouble. And it just all of a sudden hit me so hard. And I could just feel that she was living her parents' script, that her parents had unconsciously handed down this script to her about what life looks like, about sickness and health, about taking things on. A lot of times, sickness is by taking things on that aren't necessary to take on. Physically, they all looked a lot alike. Um, Financially, you could tell they were all kind of living in the same scarcity mode. And so it was really interesting to watch this. And then as I watched that, it just hit me so hard. She's living her parents' script. And then as I watched that and looked at other people's lives, that I began to become um, more engaged in their lives and find out more about them. It's interesting to watch how everyone is really living their parents' script. And you watch certain parents who force their kids to play football or who force their kids to play baseball because they're handing down this script, force their kids into certain academic roles or become a cheerleader because their mom was a cheerleader or whatever. In all of these different areas, you see how these scripts are being handed down, whether by force or by unconsciousness. Whatever they are, these scripts are being handed down from generation to generation. And I looked at that in my own life very, very closely, and I've seen firsthand these scripts that I'm handing down to my children. I've seen the fear that I've handed down to my children. I saw how all of these fears that were created in me when I was a little girl, how I handed those down to my children. And they did not go through the same experiences that I did, but I had still handed that fear off to them. I don't know if that's worse or better. That I actually had something that I can pinpoint why I had those fears, and my children don't have that because they're just living my script. And I've seen that in how I am controlling as a mother. Realized that I really have some serious issues with control as a mother, and how I thought that my role as a mother was to raise these children into being responsible human beings. And one day it hit me, that's not my role. These kids are geniuses. They are so smart. They're going to figure that out on their own just by even picking up social cues. They're going to figure out how to become a responsible human being. And by feeling the energy off everyone else, they're going to figure that out. I don't have to force them into figuring that out. That's not my job. So that opens up a whole new area of what my job as a mother really is. One of my jobs as a mother is to not hand down my script or my map to someone else. So each of us live our lives, and as we live our lives, we unconsciously mark where we've been and make a map. Now, this can be really great if we have a map that will be useful to someone else, as a mother or as a carpenter or as a dentist or wherever we're at in our lives. If our map can help someone else, then that's really beneficial. The problem is when we try to take someone who doesn't fit our map and throw our map on top of them and say, follow this no matter what. And you can see in so many people's lives where they've unconsciously followed their parents' map and aren't happy. And their parents aren't happy. It's like, why would you follow your parents' map? They're not even happy. You're like, oh, I didn't even realize that I was doing that. You need to get this career because in order to make this money, you have to be here, 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 and here. Well, you're looking at their parents. They have that same career and they're not happy. So I looked at that and I thought really closely about that and became aware of the fact that I get to live my map, and instead of handing that map over to my children and say follow all of this exactly, I get to just be a guide in helping them create their own map. What that looks like practically speaking is still a work in progress for me. It's still every day I go, okay, how does that fit when you're eating dinner and they're chucking their food at their brother, which happens daily for me. Absolutely all the time. What does that look like? How do I then control the, see, I just said control. How do I then engage them in a conversation to help them find their way, help them be who they were already created to be, and help them find their way into being their best them possible? Practically speaking, is still completely a work in progress for me. Motherhood's not about figuring out all of the answers right away. It's about watching and learning and picking up all of these different cues and listening to our hearts as our hearts continue to tell us which way to turn in motherhood. It's not about following an exact plan. It's not about following anyone else's plan. It's not about reading one parenting book and thinking you have it covered for the rest of your life. It's about listening to the whispers in our heart and following those every day and seeing how those fit in with what we're doing and seeing how those can guide our children instead of controlling them and handing them over these maps that worked for us or didn't work for us. It's just not going to be the same for them. We can guide them. That's all we get to do. So that's my thought for the day. Head over to Mother Miss Tribe and let me know what you think. Can't wait to see you there.